Don't you think it's hypocritical then to make the issue a fare hike issue? Whereas it appears, and from what you're saying, it appears that the real issue is something else. The real issue seems to be that there was a decision already taken in advance to remove Dinesh Trivedi. The question was only of the timing and looking for an opportune moment.
Yeah, because, if that decision was not there, then I gave you the reason that I could have been called. I could have been told, because immediately after the budget, my party people, 5 minutes after the budget, that because there is an instruction that you have to roll back. And you know what I answered? I said, sure. If my leader tells me, I can consult with other MPs, and while we are debating on the floor of the House, let the MPs talk, and then we'll see how it goes. But I didn't say, no, I'm not going to take it back. And that's not the purpose. I'm not on an ego trip. Only thing is, I'm on a larger picture that it is perhaps not the best way of dealing things in a democracy. Otherwise, nobody will do a thing which is right.
No,
and I would again do the same thing, because for me, I have said that my decisions are based on what was good for the railways, what is good for the country and the people. And I still stick to that, and I'm very, very happy about it. I still would do the same thing. But then it's property of the House. If MPs decide,
Mr. Trivedi,
now there is a competition.
No, Mr. Trivedi, can I send you? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Continue. Please continue. Please continue. Sorry. Yeah.
No. What I was telling, that now that Trinamool Congress has demanded a rollback, because immediately once I presented the budget, including when I talked about the increase in fare, everybody clapped and they all congratulated, because everybody was expecting. And they said it's a great budget. And now that our party has talked about rollback, there is a competition. Everybody says rollback. That day nobody told me to roll back. So in political, this is a competition that we are doing it for the masses. Yeah. But they don't realize that this budget would have given at least 2 lakhs new jobs.
Yeah, but wasn't this
Where is the money going to come?
No, I take you on the right. Wasn't this therefore just a premeditated plan, to get somebody? In 1 minute, you don't have to respond right. Let me complete my question. Since this evening, my questions will be specific. I'm not putting words in your mouth. Question is this: since it's a premeditated plan to get back somebody in the portfolio who is going to be more of a yes man, right? Dinesh Trivedi may not have been a yes man, so you get somebody in the portfolio who may have been more pliable. Let me not use the word yes man, who may have given Mamata Banerjee more space. Who Mamata Banerjee could have run the ministry via remote control vis-a-vis someone else. So you were not willing to be a remote control. Tell me when you look back, because you were not Mamata Banerjee's first choice for railway ministry. That's also in the papers, that she wanted Mukul Roy initially. Mukul Roy's name was not cleared. There were certain issues, and then your name came up. So she wasn't quite comfortable with you. Tell me about the tension that has built up, if you can be a little more candid with me, over the last few months. No,
I had no tensions. I honestly
there has been some tension.
I did my work very professionally, fearlessly. And that is where I've been, talking about Rabindranath Tagore, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. I practiced it.
No, why?
I just didn't talk about it. I practiced it. And I'm very happy about it. And I have my own dignity and my dignity of my country, and that's what is important.
What do you take
Rest, whether the job is there, not there, doesn't matter.
Let me take you back to the time when, let me take you back to about 3 o'clock on the day you presented the budget, Mr. Trivedi. The headlines were screaming that Trinamool Congress wants Trivedi's head. The headlines are screaming they want a rollback. Were you taken aback? Because as you tell me now, you had confided and discussed in some broadly enough that this fare hike is inevitable. You had more or less said that to your party leader. You had communicated through someone very close to her. Were you taken aback at the ferocity of the countercharge against you on the day you presented the budget by your own party?
I only can say I didn't expect it, because there was no logic to it. I definitely did not expect. There is a method in democracy, and there is a process in democracy, because at the end of the day, Arnab, you will agree with me that in democracy, we don't come here just to serve a party or a person. We are here on a larger cause, and it is not 9 to 5. So I would have expected that you give dignity and respect to your colleagues. For me, everybody is a colleague. And that's the way I have been brought up. And that's why I felt that, yes, perhaps there was a better way of doing it rather than going public. And that's it. That's
is
my
that
way.
also why you
And I have
insisted
no
that Mamta
business-
Banerjee should call you? Because you did insist that Mamta Banerjee should call you. Did you have a direct communication? Is it because you felt somewhere that you had broadly communicated to her through someone, directly or indirectly, about a fare hike, and you wanted to know why there was a change of position?
Yeah, I really, because I did not want to do a thing which was not disciplined. Because on the floor of the House, Sudeep Bandopadhyay mentioned that we are not asking for resignation. Prime Minister had not asked for resignation. I had a duty to perform to defend my budget. So what do? I have to communicate to my leader, and that is why I took the first step, and I called her up and I said, what do you want? And I told her also that before I took up this job, I had mentioned to you that anytime you don't want, just tell me, it'll take me 10 seconds. And I can tell you this is exactly what I had told her. And when I phoned up, I repeated this. I said, I told you when I took this job that if you want me to go, just give me, it'll take me 10 seconds. And it took me 10 seconds. The moment I spoke, I just sent an email to the Prime Minister. And I think this is the first time any minister must have sent an email.
But why didn't you tell her?
Letter.
Why didn't you tell her that I did inform you through this bureaucrat about what was happening on the fare hike, and that I don't think it's right for you to say today I never knew, because all kinds of things are being said about your unilateral. I want your candid view, Mr. Dinesh Trivedi. Multiple occasions you have been charged of taking a unilateral decision, of being a bad party man.
I have given a very clear cut, very, very honest view. It's not a view, it's a statement of fact, and under oath. And I don't want to really talk about our internal party thing. That is not part of party discipline. So I had no business to ask my leader. I am there at her pleasure. And any minister is always there at the pleasure of their leadership. So I have no business to argue and ask, as long as I know I did the right thing. And I did not want to wait. I did not want to create a crisis in the government. I did not want a government to go through this embarrassment. I did not want the Prime Minister of India to go through this. Because Prime Minister of India, I can tell you, Arnab, would never ever would have sacked me, because he is too much of a gentleman.
But then what I'm understanding, Mr. Trivedi, is if what you're telling me, and I have no reason to assume what you're telling me is not true. Then what appears to me, what has been going on television, what Mamta Banerjee has been saying I'm the voice of the masses, etc., etc. I'm sorry, but all that seems to be an extremely populist stunt. That is a stunt. The real story is that Mamta Banerjee knew, was told, was informed. No, you don't have to say it, but just putting two and two together from what you're saying, that Mamta Banerjee was in the know.
No, actually, I really have no business to contradict her, and I certainly would not like to do that. But I was doing it for the masses also. How long you want people to go through this dirty rail system, which is not safe the way it should be? So at the end of the day, today also I heard 17 or 16 people died. How long we can tolerate people dying every day on the tracks? And who dies? The poor guys. It is not the rich guys who fly by plane, they don't die. It is the poor guy who dies. So knowing the system requires money, knowing the system requires attention, I would be very, very careless person to stick to my job and not to attend the system. So any day I can tell you, the system requires attention. If the government of India is not giving me, what do I do? So at the end of the day, I am doing it for the masses only. And masses require a proper transportation system. They have to travel with dignity. They cannot travel with rats and cockroaches, and a system which I know is not really safe. So I had a duty to perform. I would not like to send my kith and king in a place a place where I think is not safe.
Mr.
So when
Trivedi,
it comes to your own relation, you are careful. So citizens also needs that kind of a system. I don't want to create a panic.
Mr.
But
Trivedi,
yes, Kakotkar committee, Pitroda committee has thrown open that there is a system which requires attention, is bleeding.
Mr.
And that's what I
Trivedi.
did. And when I talked about, and I must clarify, when I talked about that I brought it out of ICU, I was only talking about the operational ratio. I did not say that it was my predecessor who put it into ICU, because that is another translation. That's what I meant. No,
Yeah.
this has been
I know,
coming for
but-
last many years.
was it difficult on the budget day for you to deny with a straight face when you spoke to me? Now you can loosen up, because that day you were very worked up. You were very busy. There was interview after interview, and that day I kept asking you, and you said no, I have not heard. And obviously you knew, Mr. Trivedi. You're a person who's
Not
checks
heard
your
what?
You knew what was going around. That in terms of Mamata
No, actually,
Banerjee,
honestly,
the demand of Mamata Banerjee
Arnab-
wanted a rollback. You knew about it. You just
No, Arnab, I tell you honestly, because that day I was sitting in the office only, and then the TV channels were telling I had no direct contract with Mamata Banerjee. I had no direct contract. And I only would believe her words.
Yeah.
If she tells me, that's what I will believe. I had no access to television that day.
I understand. I would now like to actually hear from Mamata Banerjee what she says. If a top bureaucrat, I put this question to our viewers today. Former Railway Minister Dinesh Trivedi is on our channel, and he's saying very clearly that I told a very senior and close bureaucrat close to Mamata Banerjee, the broad purview, that there is going to be a freight and fare hike. If Mamata Banerjee then goes from channel to channel, newspaper to newspaper, saying I never knew, I was so shocked later when I got to know that I had to sack Dinesh Trivedi, is that the right thing to do? What Dinesh Trivedi says today puts a new spin on the developments. We'll have to ask Mamata Banerjee for her response. Dinesh Trivedi, I want to thank you for being candid today.
I want to conclude, Arnab.
Yes.
Arnab,
Go on.
I want to conclude by this share. And I know what I'm getting into. It says, ये तय जान के कूदो असूलों की लड़ाई में कि रातें कुछ न बोलेगी चिरागों की सफाई में.
You want to translate that for our viewers? I also for
No, that if you have gotten into a principled battle, if I may use the word, then you have put yourself in this principled battle, knowing fully well that unprincipled is not going to support you. So that is why I say, कि रातें कुछ न बोलेगी चिरागों की सफाई में, means the darkness is not going to come to the rescue of the lamps. And that's a beautiful couplet. So I know what I am doing, but I have got the strength of Almighty, courage of conviction, and I have no intention of blaming one or the other. What I did, I'm very happy, and I'm touched by the responses of the countrymen, and I'm sure truth prevails at the end of the day. Satyameva Jayate, as they say.
Bilkul. Let's see what happens. We're following up with Mamata Banerjee next. Thank you very much, Dinesh Trivedi, for speaking to me.